Welcome back to the Nice Life. This is Andy Nice here, giving you my mountain bike check today. I'm going to tell you why I have two different bikes, where I ride them, and what I love about them. So this is my Pivot Mach 4 SL. This is my Pivot Mach 5.5. Starting with my Pivot Mach 4 SL, this is my rocket ship XC bike. So, few tech specs to get started with this bike. I'm not going to go geek out over it just like I did on my dirt bike. Don't worry about that. Just going to give you a few quick things to think about. So the bike is running a Fox Factory 34 up front, 120 mil of travel, a Fox Factory DPS in the rear, 100 mil of travel. I do have the lockout for both of those, which makes it super nice because here in the Midwest we have a lot of ups and downs. It's not like out in the West where you go up and then down. So it's nice to have that lockout at the touch of your finger instead of having to manually reach up and adjust the fork and then reach down and adjust the rear shock. So I can lock out the forks, make them stiff when I'm climbing, and then I can open them up when I'm descending going downhill. This bike is a 29er, so 29 by 2.2 Maxxis tires on it. Super lightweight. The bike weighs 27 pounds, I think, and this isn't even the high-end build. The high-end build is around 20 pounds. Super crazy for a full suspension mountain bike. Really cool. Another thing to touch on, the bike is full carbon. I got carbon bars, carbon frame, so super stiff, super light. Really like that. So enough with the kind of geeky terms. I know a lot of you probably don't care about that. Where I ride this bike, I ride this bike any place that isn't too crazy, gnarly, technical, rocky, rooty. It is a cross-country bike, so without having all that travel, it makes it a little tougher whenever you're getting into those big rocky sections. However, I do want to say for an XC bike, this is very, very versatile. With that 120 mil travel fork, you have a lot of forgiveness with that suspension, and I love it. So, yeah, I wouldn't prefer to ride this here at like Cherokee Park or take this out west to like big rocky areas, but if I did, it wouldn't be an issue because this bike is crazy forgiving. You can take this bike and literally ride it all day long. This will be my 30-mile bike, putting in those long rides. Does a lot of flow trails, a lot of smooth XC style trails. Really enjoyable for this bike. Also take it on bike paths and places like that. It's super fast on the road as well as on the trail, so it's, like I said, it's very versatile. I don't really have a need for a road bike or a gravel bike with this thing because, yeah, it may pedal a little harder on the road compared to an actual road or gravel bike, but I don't ride a whole lot of road or gravel, so this bike totally works out because I ride a lot of trail and it's not an issue if I want to go on a road ride with dad or somebody else. It's no big deal to get out on the road, especially being able to lock out the fork and rear shock. Makes it super stiff, so that power is instant. Talking about that, I know I said that I'd rather not take this to those super rocky, rooty places, but this bike is really playful. It gets up in the air super well, super lightweight, super fast, floats over the ground great with the factory, with the Fox Factory suspension. It does a really good job in feeling plush and not really rigid like most hardcore XC bikes. I love how plush the suspension is. Going with that, I do run clipless pedals on this because the places I ride this bike aren't really technical, so there's not a whole lot of times when I got to dab my foot or take my foot off the pedal. Like I said, I'm putting in the miles when I ride this bike, and typically it's smoother trails, so I like the clipless for this. It works out really nice where I run flats on my Enduro bike that you'll see in just a second. But yeah, that is my Pivot Mach 4 SL. Like I said, I didn't want to geek out and go too in depth about these bikes. It's not very fun watching these informative videos. This is more just telling you what I have, why I have it, and then all my future videos are going to be all about riding and where I go and some fun, cool videos. So yeah, let's move on to the Mach 5.5. This is my Pivot Mach 5.5. It's my Enduro trail bike. It kind of blends the lines between Enduro and trail style bike. Few tech specs. Bars 780, super wide bars. Actually put those on myself. It came with 750s, I think, for the large size frame. And this isn't the highest end build. So it's not all carbon. The frame is carbon, but the bars are not. Another thing, the fork is 160 mil travel, so super plush, really meant for taking those hard hits, big drops, stuff like that. The rear shock is 140 travel, so not quite as enduro as the fork, but with this trail style shock, it does have really good pedaling. So I mean, 140 is plenty of travel for around here. There's nothing crazy gnarly where you're going to need that 160, 170 mil travel. But 140 does a great job taking hits around here, but it also makes for a great pedaling enduro bike. And that's one thing that I really love about this bike, for as big as it is travel wise, and it has 2.6 tires, 27.5 wheels. With all that being said, it pedals so good, and I credit all that to this DW link right here. And the Pivot Mach 4 SL also has that DW link, and that's one thing that Pivot has nailed with that linkage system. It just makes these bikes pedal amazing. Now, that being said, they may not be as plush, and with the small bump sensitivity, you know, it may not be great. But when you get into the hits, the big hits and the big drops and the big jumps, there's no issue there. It's great. But these bikes both pedal super great. So moving from XC to Enduro, this is the bike that I will take out west. I prefer to ride on the chunkier, rockier, more rooty trails where I'm going to need to soak up a lot of suspension, or soak up a lot of the hits. And as you can tell, I do run flats on this, and you know, that's has nothing to do with riding ability. That's my preference on most bikes. This bike being longer travel, it's not going to buck me as much, so my feet are going to stay on the pedals pretty well. Not going to have an issue there. Another thing complementing the big suspension are these big 2.6 tires. I got a pretty aggressive Minion DHF in the front, and a little more XC style. I think it's an Ardent. Let me see. No, Recon in the rear. These two tires paired together are perfect for a trail style bike. You got a really good pedaling, efficient tire in the rear, and then you got a really good gripping, aggressive tire in the front. Overall, the bike, for an enduro big travel bike, I'm not afraid to have long days on it. The great thing about this bike, it's not full enduro. Same with my XC bike, it's not full XC. This is more towards the trail enduro side, that's more towards the XC trail side. I like having versatile bikes to where if I take this bike out on a 30-mile ride, yeah, it's not going to pedal the best, but I'm not going to be dying at the end of the day. Whereas my XC bike, if I take it on a 10-mile ride and it's a real rocky rooty, yeah, it's, you know, it's going to be a little rougher, but it's still going to be able to make it through it. So no big deal there. Back to the 5.5. Full carbon frame. I think the bike weighs around 32 pounds, which for a big bike, you know, that's not bad. It's pretty normal. You know, maybe in the future get some carbon wheels, something like that to really take some weight off. Another thing about this bike, it does have a 12-speed cassette, so I'm running NX Eagle cassette on the rear. It's a 1x12 SRAM components all through, but Yeah, it's got that 12 speed, so when I go to these big mountain places eventually, which I know I'm going to, I'll be able to get up the hills, no problem, no issue there. I think it would get up even with an 11 speed, but I like the 12 speed, plus it adds value to the bike. So overall, that is my 2018 Pivot Mach 5.5, and like I said, I'm not geeking out about these bikes. If you want the actual specs and products and all the details, I'm going to leave links below to each of these bikes. This is a 2018 model. My Mach 4 SL is a 2019 model. It just came out. So if you want to geek out about the tech specs and all that, go visit Pivot's website. But that's not what I'm here to do today. I just wanted a quick informative video of why I have an XC bike, why I have an Enduro bike, kind of inform you about why I have two different bikes, because as serious as I take riding, there is definitely a reason to have both, and I love them both for different reasons. So that's it for the 5.5. All right, so I hope I didn't bore you all too much with another bike check. I made sure it was quick. I didn't geek out about it. I didn't go into what kind of dropper I have, what kind of wheels I have, how big my brakes are, or any of that. I just want to tell you all basically what I had, why I have it, and why I ride it. That being said, I do want to give a shout out to Kevin and Bob at Clarksville Schwinn for hooking me up with both of these bikes. Those guys are phenomenal. Please go hit them up. I think they're off Lewis and Clark Parkway in Clarksville, Indiana. Great dudes, great deals. Love all the guys at the shop there. They do an awesome job. So hopefully this helped you all understand why I have two bikes and where I'm going to be riding them. And this is the last bike check video, so all my videos from here on out are basically going to be me riding places, or you know, I'm going to have some camping videos coming up. I may do some kayaking and stuff like that, but stay tuned because now the fun stuff starts with the channel. Super excited to bring you all along. So please hit that subscribe button down below. I need subscribers. Give me a like if you liked the video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments section. Look forward to bringing you all along for my next ride. Have a good day. Peace.